What's up, everybody? Welcome to a brand new episode of the 5280 podcast on the MHRT Network. I'm your host, as always, Mundungus Creevy, along with my co-hosts Cameron Parker, Glenn Hauser, and Gage Madrid. How's it going, gentlemen?
Doing good. Welcome to the 5280 podcast, where we will be doing a play-by-play of Mike's fantasy football draft that is actually going live.
It just started.
Who'd you pick?
I'm not going to tell you because you were getting all mad at me, so I'm not saying nothing.
You took Jerome Ford, didn't you?
I did not take Jerome Ford.
Derrick Henry?
Maybe.
Okay. That's better than Jerome Ford, Mike.
Hey, Jerome Ford gave me a lot of points last year. Eat it.
Dude, Henry Ford would be better than Jerome Ford.
Henry Ford.
Listen.
He might actually make you a vehicle.
All right, well, now that we're sitting here
You can ride his...
Go ahead and make sure you like and subscribe to the network. We'd greatly appreciate it. Make sure that you check out Broncos Syndicate, hosted by Gage Madrid. Like and subscribe to that channel as well. And make sure you tune in on Wednesday nights with mainly Broncos and like there as well. We would greatly appreciate it. Gentlemen, we have some football coming up we have football Thursday, but we have Broncos football on Sunday, and I'm very excited. It's not my pick yet. I'm very excited.
Oh, my God.
ADD. Very excited for football kickoff, but there are a couple things that we need to talk about. Number one is Pat Surtain being ranked as 10th on the NFL Top 100 list.
Just goes to show how much it's a popularity contest, and it doesn't actually reflect much. I mean, it's cool to hear his peers give him praise because they definitely did, but yeah, that feels like a rigged list if you ask me. The reigning defensive player of the year being the 10th best player in the league. Yeah, I don't know about that one.
Doesn't it kind of make sense, though, with like all the other players you have available? Because, I mean, Saquon's got to be there, Derrick Henry's got to be there, Josh Allen's got to be there, Mahomes, Jamar Chase.
I think if you're like really overanalyzing it, I think it's one where the only defensive player that was above him was someone of positional value, right? Which was Myles Garrett. So, like, if you're really overanalyzing it, it was Myles Garrett, and he's won Defensive Player of the Year before. But I don't know. I feel like winning Defensive Player of the Year should at least give you the honors of being the last remaining defensive player. But, you know, at the end of the day, frankly, of all the rankings that surprised me the most, it was our, glorious quarterback, Bo Chapman-Nix, ranking where he was, but I mean, nonetheless, it was nice to see him ranked inside the top 10. So, but
oh God, it's my pick.
Okay, what are you thinking?
Mahomes or Knicks?
Are you joking?
Oh my God! Obviously, it's Mahomes, bro.
It's clearly Bo Nix.
I would take Bo Nix.
I'm thinking Spencer Rattler.
You take Bo Nix and you rename your team name SEAL Team Nix.
No, my team name is Are You Surtain? With a question mark.
Okay, I can respect that.
Pretty good, right? I thought it was a good one.
And also, this was not scripted.
That's the 10th best team name I've heard all day, Mike.
I was going to say, this is really well scripted because your fantasy football name is Eric Surtain. And we're talking about the defensive player of the year and Pat Surtain. So it seems really very fitting. So no, it wasn't scripted.
No.
Mike, you will have to follow up with a Cortland Sutton pick at some point.
I'm debating. I'm going to pick wide receiver next.
The problem here, Mike, is you cannot draft like 7 Denver Broncos on your roster.
Oh, I certainly can.
Your bye week's going to suck.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm so distracted right now. Micah Parsons would be the next thing we're going to talk about, and not specifically Micah Parsons, right? Because who cares about Micah Parsons? However, we do face the Cowboys. We also face the Packers, and now that we have Micah Parsons under new contract, we have Trey Hendrickson signed, we have Nick Bosa signed, we have who's the other one? There was another one. I don't remember. Now we have to start thinking about where we're going to be with Nick Bonito, right? So if you look at the Micah Parsons signing, obviously I don't think he's going to be at the level of Micah Parsons, but he got 4 years, $188 million with $136 million guaranteed. He got a $44 million signing bonus, and his average per year is 46.5. Now, the cool part about this
Mhm.
is the Packers are doing it kind of like the Eagles, right? So the first 3 years, his cap hit and his actual yearly salary is very low. And then it kicks in his fourth and fifth year because they're using a lot of bonuses and a lot of like roster bonuses and signing bonuses to get him up to that 46.5.
Well, and I think that if you're specifically looking at it from a Broncos perspective, you're wondering what it means for Nick Bonito. And, and I think that if, we should probably preface it this way. The Micah Parsons deal wasn't, for me at least, wasn't really the deal that was like, okay, this is what we should be looking at for Nick Bonito. It really wasn't that deal. It was the Trey Hendrickson deal. And obviously the reason why I say that is because like the Bengals are just dirt cheap. I just want to, clarify that. Like they're dirt cheap. And, Trey Hendrickson has been wanting a long-term contract for the longest time, whether it's been with the Bengals or anybody else. Like he's been wanting to be paid. And so getting a 1 year, $30 million a year deal, while it may not, replace the idea of Bonito getting 24 to 28, it still gives credence to the idea that he might get 30. 35 is where we cap it, right? 35 is where we cap it. But it's just the idea of, wherein lies that idea of where are we going to be capping this Nick Bonito deal? Because for me, the APY isn't really a problem for me. But the idea of, to what Mike mentioned with the Parsons deal of, we're going to have a lot of signing bonuses. We're going to do heavy guarantees. That's where I would probably put the emphasis with Nick Bonito, and possibly incentives too, depending on how many sacks and stuff that he, gets over the course of the season. So I don't know, like the Parsons deal, depending on with how it's layered, was more so like how it correlates with Nick Bonito. And so I don't know, like it's one where it does beg the question of, is he going to be getting that 30 or is he going to be getting that 35? Because this is still the Broncos ownership we're talking about, right? Where they paid Sutton way less than we expected.
What are we bitching about tonight? I'm trying to host and draft at the same time. That's what we're talking about.
That's one thing that's a problem. As these salaries escalate and these contracts get bigger, especially contracts on the Broncos, it will be interesting to see how they actually handle Patrick Surtain, because he's now.
You mean?
No, I'm talking about Pat Surtain. Because at some point they are going to have to go to him and renegotiate that contract because it just is not in line with where he needs to be paid in relation to these other guys, and that's something I've been thinking about because he might just play under this contract for another year or two before it really needs to be addressed. And at that point, how many guys on the defensive side will be making like considerably more money than him?
We also have to judge this off of the patterns from the Denver Broncos too. Mm-hmm. They've been really consistent with getting ahead of the market on guys that they know they want to pay. So it just lends more credence to the idea that maybe the Denver Broncos don't know if they want to pay Nick Bonito yet, just because of how deep that edge rush room is and how expensive is this really going to get. Like just like Cam said, I think the cap here is $35 million a year. He's not in Nick Bosa territory. He's not in Myles Garrett, TJ Watt territory, not even close to that. He's not in Micah Parsons territory. You're just not going to be able to justify paying him that much because he still has many deficiencies in the run game, and he's not quite at the level as a pass rusher as those players are. And Trey Hendrickson only getting $30 million a year when the production between Trey Hendrickson and Nick Bonito is really damn close. I think that was bad news for Bonito. And I think that realistically, it might be smart for the Denver Broncos to wait this out because they have that franchise tag option. Let's say he goes out there and he plays at a similar level that he did last year, but he doesn't exceed that level. That's where you think about that franchise tag because that just is going to give him that opportunity to go out there and maybe prove that he can take his game to the next level. Personally, I think Nick Bonito is close to his ceiling as a run defender, which is ultimately going to hamper his ability to get those big bucks. So Denver's smart with this. They haven't been too in a hurry to pay players that they're not sure about, but on the same side of the coin, like I said earlier, they're very quick to pay players that they're confident in. So I think the writing might be on the wall right now with Nick Bonito. They want him to go out there and do it again.
But to be fair to Bonito, though, he has been an ascending player the moment he stepped foot on the football field.
Yes.
So, like, he has gotten better, every single year he's been a Denver Bronco. So I wouldn't necessarily say he's capped off with his ceiling. So I think that, because if he's getting better, it just means that his ceiling is getting extended year by year by year by year. That said, every player's different. Every player's different. And so for what we're seeing with an ascended player, we're also seeing Jonah Ellis rise quicker than, probably any of us expected. And so, I mean, maybe that's the reason why, too, that they are very hesitant about giving Bonito the deal. So I don't know. It's one where I think they get a deal done, but I think that because of the way the market works, maybe it forced the hand of being a little bit more wait and see as things kind of progress and everything. But there's one thing as I said earlier, if there's one thing we know about the Denver Broncos, for what it seems like market value for guys like a Trey Hendrickson of $30 million a year, they seem to kind of luck out in their APY and getting them for a fair deal and really kind of upping their guarantees and rightfully spreading it out over time. So I don't know. I really do trust Rich Hurtado and the financial team and everybody else to really work things out. And so, and for Benito's sake, I will say I think he's getting better as a run defender, but I think there's a part of his game that is a bit of a different style of an edge rusher that we have seen, right? So we're talking about a player that you can actually drop into coverage, which is rare because we've been complaining so often about why is Von Miller dropping into coverage? Why is Bradley Chubb dropping into coverage? Why is, all these players dropping into coverage? So I think that for Nick Bonito, it's one of those things okay, there might be a little bit of some reason why they're putting Bonito into coverage in 2 pick sixes in air quotes. 2 pick sixes is a reason
quick
why.
question. Sutton, Zay Flowers, or Jerry Jeudy?
Honestly, I may say Jerry Jeudy on this one.
I'm leaning towards Jerry, actually.
See, I'd say Sutton because you want to double dip on whatever touchdowns you get.
I got Evan Ingram already, though.
Oh,
I'm taking Jerry.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay, continue.
I no disrespect to Bonito because I do think the guy's a phenomenal player, but I have a real hard time with allocating $35 million to one guy, especially I don't want to say especially a guy like that, but you could get 3 $12 million a year players that could really have massive impact. How many guys on the team are even making that kind of money? So to eat up $35 million for one guy and just hope, especially when you have depth in the room, as Gage has talked about, and you've talked about it on your channel too, with in terms of the Bonito contract, that's a tough one. I don't mind if they wait on this and ride it out. How much worse off can the Broncos be at this point if he balls out and has a great season? What extra money are we're not in Cowboys territory where we're intentionally waiting and all of a sudden we're paying Dak Prescott $60 million. It's not going to be that way.
Well, and truthfully, if we're going to be talking about the whole Parsons situation, if we are being honest with ourselves, Nick Bonito in a first-round pick would have, looking at exactly the way it went down with the Cowboys, would have gotten that deal done, for Micah Parsons. But
if $35 million is scary, Cam, $47 million is even worse. And this is a guy that needs to get a shot to play on Sunday, right?
I get that. It's just it's still one of those things of just like we're talking about a player that is possibly the best pass rusher in the NFL right now, and one that is borderline Von Miller-esque in terms of being the best pass rusher. So I'm not necessarily passing that opportunity up, because it's one like if there's it's to a certain degree, it's like when Peyton Manning was available. It's like, you do have to kick the tires on. You may not acquire him, but you do kick the tires on a possibility of that. So if Nick Bonito, is at least available, as a possible deal like that, it would be one where I would be surprised, that Dallas say turn that deal down, because that is a far better deal than getting in return.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And I wanted to clarify something with Nick Bonito that I said earlier about his ceiling being capped as a run defender. The only reason why I say that is he is a smaller edge rusher at the end of the day. There are going to be bigger tackles that are just going to wash him out in the run game. He's going to get physically overwhelmed. It's just not a club in his bag. He's gotten better in terms of like the willingness and the effort and all that stuff. That's definitely there. I'm not saying none of that's there. But definitely the physical traits, just as he is as a player, I don't know how much better he's going to be able to get physically as a run defender. So I just wanted to clarify that comment.
Yeah. So we talked about the contract. I mean, obviously, I think that Benito should probably get anywhere between 22, 26 would be my hope that he'd be in that range, maybe a little less.
If he gets 22, there was something wrong in the building. Yeah.
So then
there was a gunpoint involved.
Yeah, and really heavy guarantees.
Yeah. So then the next question is, how does the Micah Parsons trade affect our games against the Cowboys and our games against the Packers?
I wouldn't say it affects it too much. I mean, the Packers game, for all intents and purposes for me, like the Packers game was pretty well circled. Like was pretty well circled as far as the game that we wanted to watch out for. Packers are also one where I think at this point, if you're probably looking at leaders in the clubhouse for the division, Packers are probably the ones that you wanted to go for. The one where it probably flips is the Cowboys. And Grant, I think despite the fact of the Cowboys being a bit of a Jekyll and Hyde team, it affects it in the sense where that defense, for as much as it was a bit of a sieve at times, even with Micah Parsons on the field, it's even more of a sieve because Jerry Jones, friendly reminder, Pat Bowlen was not inducted before Jerry Jones. I just want to piss you all off even more in the YouTube chat here. But the fact that Jerry Jones decided to pay Deron Bland $20 million a year, which goes to your, Pat Surtain comment earlier, Glenn, for why they probably need to pay him a little bit earlier or sooner rather than later. But it's just like that defense has become a sieve now because everything is all about that secondary, nothing about that defensive front. Like that Cowboys defense has become a problem to where really the only thing you need to be worried about is, okay, you have Pat Surtain on CeeDee Lamb, Riley Moss on George Pickens, and then the rest will figure itself out, for that wide receiving core. And so I don't know. To me, the Dallas game kind of made itself a bit easier, than harder.
Definitely. The Green Bay game, I mean, like you said, Cam, I think Denver already has that game pretty heavily circled, especially considering it's going to be in December where you're trying to make that last-minute playoff push. But at the end of the day, bringing in Micah Parsons is definitely going to impact how the Denver Broncos game plan for this game. They're going to be double-teaming him. They're going to have to slide the line his direction. It's going to create a lot of one-on-one matchups for other guys on that line, such as Rashawn Gary. So, yeah, it definitely impacts things. But Denver already was taking Green Bay very serious. Now they're taking him even more. Now they're taking them even more serious.
And in a related story, Mike just took the Cowboys defense.
I absolutely did not. That is not a thing that I did.
Now, Bronco Bill would take the Cowboys defense.
Chargers D, yeah.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. All right, so now we kind of go into the season and what the expectations are for the Broncos. You've got people all over the place saying we're going to win 12, 13, 14. Then you've got some other people saying we're going to win 5, 6, 7. Then you got a bunch saying we're going to win 9, 10, 11. So what are our expectations for the Broncos?
Well, let me actually ask it a bit of a different way, Mike.
Fine.
We did our season predictions, right?
Maybe.
We did our season predictions when the schedule came out, or right when it came out. This is your last call. Has your season predictions for this schedule changed? It's okay to be honest on this one.
No, not really.
Mine has changed slightly. I would say it's probably 11-6.
Where were you?
I think it was 12-5 is where I was.
Okay.
Just because the reasoning behind the reasoning behind it is just because this is going to be a dogfight defense. A dogfight division between this AFC West. And if you have a 12-5 record with this division, you actually should not just have a division win here. You should be having pretty close to a number 1 seed or a number 2 seed, or even a number 3 seed for that matter. And so much so, like we've seen really tough divisions in the past be such a dogfight that 11-5 team wins that division. I'm not saying the Chiefs can't do that again or the Broncos can't necessarily do that. But I just think that, for the Broncos in terms of a successful season, we need to look at it too for what it's worth. And that is, like, as long as they hit 10+ wins and they get to the playoffs. Also, that too for me is a bit changed where, like, they get to the playoffs and they win a playoff game. That's the cherry on top than winning the playoff game. But my thing is, if they if they go 10+ wins, they're in the playoffs. But say they play Buffalo again, and I actually just a scenario. Say they play Buffalo again. They lost 31-7 last year. But say they play better, and it's actually a lot closer than people think. Like, a lot closer than people think, because progress is progress, right? And they lose 31-28. I think we are having still a bit of a different conversation about this Broncos team, because it's still at the very end of the day about, making sure that, the lights aren't too bright for this team. It is still a young football team. So if they clearly show out the fact that playoff team that was there last year is different than the year before to the year this one, and they clearly show it's a competitive advantage and they play their hearts out and it's 31-28, I will say I will feel far more comfortable after that type of game than I would than the year before. So yes, the playoff win is certainly the cherry on top. But if they go out and they are competitive in that playoff game, that's really a good step in the direction there.
Yeah. And my hope is basically that they can get into the playoffs, hopefully not as the 7th seed again, because if you're the 7th seed, you've got to go on the road to whoever the number 2 seed is, and most likely it's going to be like Buffalo, Baltimore, or Kansas City. And if you do have to play one of those teams and you go on the road and you're able to compete with them for all 4 quarters, and maybe it doesn't go your way at the end because Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson go out and they make that big play that separates it, I think you could be at least somewhat satisfied with that. But for me, I want to win a playoff game. And let's say, for example, you're the number 5 seed, you're the top wild card, and you're going on the road to play whoever wins the AFC South. You should win that game. You should be able to win that game. So let's say you win that game, and then the following week you go into Buffalo or Baltimore or wherever the hell it is and lose. I think that would be a lot more satisfying than being the 7th seed again, going to Buffalo and losing in the wild card round. You'd feel good about it still, I feel like. But if you're able to go out there and at least say you got a playoff win under your belt, I think that's the logical next step. But next season, when you're able to get that $30 million from Russell Wilson off the books, you've got basically one more year of cheap Bo Nix. That's when the expectation should be win the damn Super Bowl. I don't think this is a Super Bowl team right now. I'm not wavering on my 11-6 projection, but I don't think this is a Super Bowl team right now. This is a team that can make some noise in the playoffs, and maybe if something goes right for them, they could maybe get there. But right now, I don't think this team is going to win the AFC West, unfortunately. Until Kansas City proves otherwise, you still have to pick them to win the West. No, I see Jeff.
Show Jeff some respect here, Gage.
I want him to win the West, but until Kansas City gives that throne up, I can't pick them to not win the West, unfortunately. Right. But this is a good football team, and this is a football team that should win a playoff game and shouldn't, in theory, back into the playoffs once again as the 7th seed. And remember, if Jonathan Taylor doesn't drop that football at the goal line, the Denver Broncos aren't going to the playoffs. Based on the way tiebreakers would have probably worked out, Denver's most likely not going to the playoffs. So Denver needs to decisively and definitively, or whatever the word is, they need to decisively be sure to be able to make sure they're in the playoffs. They've got to make sure that they stamp their ticket and not rely on the Chiefs to rest their starters in Week 18 to get there. So that, for me, is what would measure growth and progress.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm still staying with 12-5. I mean, just since we've done the projections, look at what training camp brought us. You know, the emergence of Troy Franklin. Just I mean, people were complaining about Bo Nix, but the fact that the defense is just gelled. You know, Jahdae Barron, stepping up. I think that this. I don't see any reason why I should downgrade from 12-5. At least not from a Broncos standpoint. I think that but I do agree with Gage. If we make the Super Bowl, it'll be an absolute surprise. But any sort of progress. But we have to win at least one playoff game. But I think we win the division. I think we go 12-5.
Yeah, I think I had us at 13-4, and I still stand by that. I mean, for me, and this isn't a dig at the Raiders. I mean, kind of is, but it's not meant to be. I think the only team where there isn't a question on if they're going to make the playoffs or not is the Raiders. I'm not saying they're going to be horrible. I mean, they got
half the chat, just
right. They got better, but the problem is you were so bad last year that better doesn't mean a lot.
It's true. No, it's a really interesting point because I don't know. It's one where it's like the Raiders have been so bad that the bar for that ceiling has been set so high that just the floor of them simply being at 7 or 8, is just far more reasonable.
Sorry, my wife was talking to me.
Raiders will be better than the Chargers. I don't think that's unrealistic because I think that Jim Harbaugh is going to make sure that offensive line is competent, but it's not going to be playing at the level that he wants it to heading into this season. And I low-key still have questions about if they have the right offensive coordinator in Greg Roman. I have big-time questions about Greg Roman. So, yeah, man, for me, I'm going to go ahead and say that the Chargers might fall off. They have the most fall-off potential, in my opinion, in the AFC West. Denver has it too, but I think the Chargers have the greatest.
Every year they have that too, Gage, it seems, doesn't it? And Slater getting the biggest contract for a tackle and then being out for the season shortly thereafter. Someone in the chat mentioned Raider Shield family. Losing Slater is a major hit. Absolutely. I think that, especially when you have a rookie running back going in there, and now, then you need to move Alt to that side. A lot of moving parts on that offensive line. And I could see the Raiders overtaking the Chargers this year for sure.
Sorry, Cam. So here's my question to you. Is Justin Herbert the worst quarterback in the West?
Yes. No.
Yeah.
No.
No.
You think Geno over Herbert?
Yes. Clutchness for me. I know that's a crazy hot take, but if I am picking who I would rather have right now, low key, it's Geno Smith.
Interesting.
I have to be smart about this one because
Herbert is literally awful.
He's not awful. All four quarterbacks in the AFC West are really good. And listen, Bo Nix might, in theory, be the worst, but I think Bo Nix, honestly, is probably going to have a higher ceiling than Justin Herbert just because of the situation he's in and the fact of the clutchness, man. I'm sorry, man. I think that Geno Smith and Justin Herbert are both probably top 10 quarterbacks, but I still think Geno Smith is the worst, or Geno Smith is the best out of those two.
So for me, I'm flip-flopping them. I'm saying Geno was the worst. Like, and that's just because of like the age, like, and the age of where we're at. And I think that there are still moments where Geno has the throws where it makes you scratch your head still. Like it questionably scratch your head.
So does Herbert, though.
Not saying Herbert does, but like if I'm taking upside over someone who's 34 freaking years old, I'm taking Herbert, over, Geno Smith long term. And specifically, also Pete Carroll's like older than Jesus right now.
They're coach and quarterback independent factors of each other. Well, I guess I just said Bo Nix, so never mind.
But so I'm just saying, and the Jim Harbaugh situation is probably way better than it is with Justin Herbert. I don't know, 34s feel like it's getting up there in age, for me as far as the quarterback goes. I don't know, and so for me, I'm getting, I will. Okay, respectfully, I think it's a lot closer than people think. But I'm still taking Justin Herbert over Geno Smith.
That's fair. And I think that maybe is me being a slight Herbert hater because I think he gets too much dick sucked in the freaking media. Wow. I think that people say that Justin Herbert's a top 5 quarterback when he's not. So I guess that might be just me being a little bit pushy back towards that. I think Cam's analysis is probably a little bit more level-headed than mine in this situation. I'm just sick and tired of seeing all this Justin Herbert glaze, man. It's annoying as hell.
I didn't realize Geno was so old. He's going to be turning 35 next month. Interesting.
I know. Like I said, he's older than Jesus right now.
Just because you say it respectfully before it doesn't mean that it is.
No. Carroll.
Respectfully.
Yeah.
Well, quite frankly, even if Bo Nix is the worst quarterback in the division, that's still a top 12, top 13 quarterback. So, quite frankly, just having a quarterback isn't going to win you shit. It's all about what kind of team and what kind of situation you have around your quarterback.
Yeah. But it's also about the situation too. Am I right? So
Mike just drafted Justin Herbert.
No, I just drafted Zach Allen, so eat me.
How do you draft Zach Allen?
Geno Smith is next because there's defensive players on mine.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
But to be fair, to Raiders fans, the bar, much like Bronco fans to a certain degree, we've been saved with Bo Nix. But much to a certain degree, the Raiders fans have been deprived of their franchise quarterbacks, so they're latching on to, the next greatest thing in Geno Smith.
Dude, the glaze for Gardner Minshew last year was insanity.
Listen, I feel like Minshew would have been better if it wasn't such an awful situation there last year. I still have a lot of love for Gardner Minshew, but, dude, the Raiders, I think now they at least have a somewhat competent situation, so that's going to at least put Geno in a position to be successful. But last season, man, oh my God, they were so incompetent from top to bottom. It was ridiculous.
So I will.
Who was that? Is that Charger Bill in that last comment?
Probably, right there. I will say this: I do think that it's Mahomes 1.
Oh, and
yeah, of course.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah.
Geno 2, Herbert 3, Nix 4.
You're just
But
dumb. You're just dumb.
Here's the thing, right? Like when you look at Patrick Mahomes, already reached his ceiling. That's what we're going to get from Patrick Mahomes. When you look at Herbert, already reached his ceiling. When you look at Geno, already reached his ceiling. When you look at Bo, the potential for Bo Nix potentially puts him as the second best quarterback in the AFC West. I'm not putting him over Mahomes yet, nor maybe ever. But I think that the potential for Bo Nix could vault him to the second quarterback in the AFC West and potentially top 5 quarterback in the league. Whereas you're not going to get that with Herbert and Geno because you already know what you got.
Frankly, the hot take is Bo Nix could his ceiling is the best quarterback in the division. Like,
that's hot.
That's a hot take. Not even.
I'm saying like his ceiling with Sean Payton at the helm.
Yeah, but we're talking about right now. I mean, Patrick Mahomes is just.
Oh, no. I'm just going off of what Mike said. Like his ceiling is best quarterback in the division.
Right now, like I'd probably say that Nix would be QB3 in the division for me. I still would rather have Nix over Herbert. I know, again, that's a spicy take, but when it comes to Bo, I think when you're looking at potential and ceiling, he definitely has a higher ceiling than Geno Smith. So, yeah, there's no reason at all why he can't get to that number 2 spot.
For me, I think actually the debate between quarterback 3 and where things are at is actually a little bit more closer than people think, and that's a take. Look, I'm really low on Geno Smith right now, but like I think that the conversation between, like, when we're talking potential, like I think that the potential of Justin Herbert is still pretty talented, and I think he's still a talented quarterback to be top 12, possibly even a top 5 quarterback, top 7 quarterback. That is still there. Like, you can't ignore it. Like, he makes throws that are very wow. Like, he and Trevor Lawrence are in that very similar path where they make inconsistent decisions, questionable decisions, but throws that make you go, wow, where has this been every 5 games? You know, so it's just like it is a conversation, though. And I think that for that, I think that it's one where the QB3 conversation is far more of a conversation between Justin Herbert and Bo Nix. Yeah. And, you know, and so like, but I think what really drives it down is there's far more history with Justin Herbert of being not so much of a clutch gene when it comes to it. And that's where it really brings it down, you know, like over it. So is Gage on a city bus and all the seats are taken? Like, what's going on over there?
I'm leaning back in my chair.
I'm sorry, Raider Shield family, but do you really want to bring up when the last time Sean Payton won a Super Bowl? Because if we're talking about the Raiders, I wasn't born yet. So
could you do me a favor and bring up the comment about Jimin said about Nix beating Herbert, please?
Yeah, where's that?
The one right above the one you have pulled up. Yeah, that one. Quarterbacks don't face off against each other. They go up against the opposing team's defense. So, quite frankly, this whole conversation about it's not going to be a conversation until Nix beats Herbert, it's bullcrap, dude. Seriously, they don't play against each other. They play against each other's defense.
Unless you think like Taylor Swift does, and she thought that the quarterbacks would line up opposite each other and just go.
Yes.
But to be fair, though, I will say there's a certain like mental, like, you know, like psychology, I think, that kicks in. Because I think of it like from the baseball side of things, where if Paul Skeens is on the mound, right, and you're a rookie, up and coming rookie that could be starting, your adrenaline is going to be through the roof, and you're going to be having the best round of your life. And sometimes that does happen, where a rookie pitcher is going to be throwing 7+ innings, going inning for inning against Paul Skeens.
That literally happened on Friday night.
Right. So like sometimes that happens. So like sometimes that happens with quarterbacks where, yeah, they're not facing each other, relatively speaking. They're not facing each other, you know, mano-a-mano. But I think there's a psychology there where it's like, oh, wow, so we have Peyton Manning on the other side of the field. Like, just I want to make sure I try and at least outperform him as much as I can, or at least go toe-to-toe with Peyton Manning, to make sure that like we're at least, at least making an impression. So I at least think there's a level, because we're human at the end of the day. So I think there's at least a level of conversation in your own mind that says like, oh wow, Peyton Manning's over here. It's balls to the wall. I got to make sure I perform, to the best of my ability.
Fair. I completely agree with that. But I think when you look at the tape, especially of those 2 Chargers games that the Broncos had last year, I don't think that you can specifically say that the reason why the Broncos lost those games is because Bo Nix was worse than Justin Herbert. I think the reason why they lost those games was because their defense didn't rise to the occasion.
Okay.
And you think about the first one where Pat Surtain literally goes down on the first defensive play, and the game plan's basically screwed from the get-go at that point. So I feel like if you're going to have this argument about how Bo Nix is 0-2 versus Justin Herbert, I view it more so as the Chargers are 2-0 versus the Denver Broncos last year. I don't think that it's because Justin Herbert outplayed Bo Nix. He may have. I think he actually did in that first game, but Bo Nix's play isn't what lost those games, is what I'm trying to get at.
So now the Raiders are this is stolen valor. That was the Seahawks team. Come on now.
Right. Well, and that's what I was gonna say. Like,
that's what they're
like
so
last Super Bowl Pete won was 2014. Who won the year after that? Oh, it was us. just saying. Like, okay, so
didn't the Raiders lose like 51-3 to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
Remember. I don't think I was. Yeah, I think I was in high school at that point. I don't even know. Was that 2001, 2002? But if we're to the Raiders fans, right? Like, if any fan base,
and we appreciate the comments, by the
way. Oh, 1,000%.
We love it.
If any fan base other than the Browns understands where you're at, it's us. Like, we've been there,
and
we've
maybe
been in quarterback hell. Like, we understand, we get it. We thought we had a savior in Russell Wilson. That didn't work out.
That's right.
Well, right? Like, there's a lot of quarterbacks that we thought were like, oh, this is going to be the guy. Not the guy. So I get it. But until you find that guy, which I'm sorry, it's not going to be Geno Smith, take it down a notch. Right? Like, we've been there. We get it. But take it down a notch.
Well, and we also have to call kind of like a spade for a spade here, and that is that for all intents and purposes, the Raiders,
unzipped.
the Raiders' offensive roster, aside from 2 players, is not great. It's not great.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, like, it's not great. So asking Geno Smith to play at a top 10 to top 12 level means that he's going to end up like playing above everybody else, means that he's going to have to play above a top 10 to 12 quarterback level for them to even sniff the playoffs. It's such a tall order. Like, it's a tall order to ask for.
I'd say 3 players for Raiders.
But like, even then, like
Genty, Bowers, and Geno.
Yeah, and I'll give you that, but at the same time, like, you have to look at that offensive line when it comes to Genty, right?
It's so terrible.
Like, I get you have Genty, and we all agree that Genty is probably going to be all pro at some point.
He'll be okay.
Right?
I don't know if he'll be all pro. I don't know.
But like,
you
have to look at that Raiders offensive line first. Like, he's got an uphill battle to run that ball.
But even then, like, we have to look at the whole package here. And even then, the defense is in shambles. The defense is really bad, in my opinion. Like, even despite some of the pieces that they've added, like, the secondary looks really, really bad. Like, the cornerback play looks rough. I mean, they're trying to replace Trevon Moehrig right now. Okay. You know what I mean? And so I think that from the standpoint of, like, your best bet is for them to be carried by Brock Bowers and Ashton Genty, in my opinion, and at times even Geno Smith, and that is a lot to ask for.
Yay, draft is done. Woohoo!
How many minutes per pick?
I only got like 30 seconds.
30 seconds?
Yeah, that's why I was like, oh crap, every time my pick came up, because I'm like,
That's ridiculous.
No, 30 seconds is usually Mike's time frame, so that's good.
yeah, pretty much. Dave, is that right? 30 seconds? Like an hour for warm-up and then bing, bang, boom? Yeah.
Well, I did want to say something about the Raiders' offensive line just real quick, because I think it is a little better than what it's gotten credit for on that interior especially. They've got Jackson Powers-Johnson heading into his second season, who's a monster up front. They made a move that's a little interesting. They actually moved Johnson away from center, and they put Jordan Meredith there.
Yeah. But so I mean, but it's all relative. I mean, like progress is, linear, right? Like, so it depends on certainly, how things certainly respond, for the Raiders. And the Gage freeze on us. What an opportunity to freeze.
I was going to try to hold it, but he's still frozen. So.
He's holding it. All right.
I wish I had goldfish I could toss into his mouth.
Where's the gummy bear? We'll just
30 seconds is the normal pick time. Is that for the draft or for the other?
Big Mike is a sicko. Don't mind Big Mike.
I gotta love how my internet just dropped mid-sentence there. Where did I get cut off?
I don't even know. I was too busy staring at you doing
We were actually going to throw a goldfish or even a gummy bear, into your mouth.
Oh, God. So I'm assuming it was a good one.
Screenshotted.
I'm assuming it was a good one. Oh, man. Oh, boy.
Oh, you were talking about the Raiders O-line.
Yes. So I think they're a lot better than what they get
we
credit
didn't get
for.
to the line part. We just got the O part.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh. I think that
I put a ball in his mouth and I got a free game, which is cool.
Gage is going to be all over Twitter like this is the O face.
Oh God. But no, in all seriousness, I think this Raiders offensive line is better than what they get credit for. I think that they are going to at least be competent. We'll leave it at that.
I will say I do have breaking news in the sense it is been screenshotted. It has been screenshotted.
Yeah, Cam did it.
No, it wasn't me.
I expect the Broncos to win the division, but 12-5 is delusional. I mean, it all depends on the schedule. I think it's doable. We'll see. It all depends on Bo Nix, and it depends on Evan Ingram. And honestly, it depends the most on the running game. Like, we didn't have crap for a running game last year. So now it's all on R.J. Harvey and J.K. Dobbins.
Quite frankly, if you don't go 12-5, you probably aren't winning this division.
No, and like as much as I want to see the Broncos be first place in the division, first place in the AFC, I just want them to show progress from last year. So I at least want them to try to get 11, right? Because they had 10 last year. Nope, it was me. I screenshotted it.
It's been sent. Don't worry.
So like at 12, 13, 14, maybe delusional. I'll give you that.
Oh boy, here comes the memes.
The memes we can make with that picture.
But no, but to your point, Mike, like it's one of the reasons, like for the division, it's like as long as the Broncos are 4-2 in their division, like as long as they're 4-2 in the division, that's all that matters for me from the in division side of things, because all the rest will work itself out. Because if they can be able to win some of these other games, steal a game or two, like then at that point they have a real shot at 12-5, and and even that 12-5, yeah, it's still getting adjusted to the 18 games.
And when you look at last year, right, like one of the big reasons why Denver was in the position they were in is because they went 1-6 in one-score games. So even if we can just pick up 2 of those, right, now we're looking at a 12-win season. So I don't think it's out of the realm, but we have to make sure we're closing games.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, and honestly, starting games better off too, because there were some games where you'd have some 3-and-outs to start off. You'd just be at a disadvantage going into it, and then you were screwed. But then obviously you had the game like Kansas City where you went out to a 14-0 lead and lost it. So It's all about finding that happy balance. And I think towards the beginning of the season, it's getting out to that fast start and trying to get an early 2-score lead on the Titans, because I think if you get an early 2-score lead on a team like the Titans, you're probably not going to relinquish it. So I think that the key to getting off to a fast start in the season is getting off to a fast start in games, but also you have to close those games out as well.
Yeah.
And stay healthy. I mean, really, the health of the team and the health of our stars is really what is most important.
I love this question, and I love Jack. Like, since it's been Denver versus Raiders' show, all-time record, and how about last 10 games? Honestly, where has that gotten you? I'm like, when's the last time you made the playoffs? 2002?
Broncos and Raiders have the same amount of playoff wins in that span of time.
So I saw, Raider Shield family's comment. What I'm saying, work itself out. I mean, they're 4-2 in division, and then they have the games outside of that. That's what I'm saying, work itself out in terms of winning the games that aren't in division. So that's what I mean by work itself out.
Yeah. All right, so enough with the nonsense. This definitely was not meant to be a Raiders Broncos trash talking section.
We love the comments, though. Seriously, I know we said that again.
Comments. Yeah. And if you haven't already, go ahead and head over to the MHRT Network YouTube page, like and subscribe. We would greatly appreciate it. But let's go into the actual game that's going to be happening on Sunday. I want to take a look at the Broncos versus the Titans. All 4 of us are going to be there, and I'm super excited. I told you guys already. I'm going straight 90s, right? Like, I got a 90s themed Broncos shirt, 90s themed shorts. I rented a 96 Ford Explorer Eddie Bauer edition. I'm ready to go.
Too bad they're not wearing throwbacks.
I don't even care. It is what it is. And I'm definitely taking like sexy pictures up against that Explorer. Glenn, you're taking those pictures, just so you know.
On and or off a scooter.
Both.
I'm picturing like
pants might be off.
The Costanza photo, but on top of the hood of a Eddie Bauer edition.
That's what we're doing. The Eddie Bauer edition. But I do want to look at the Broncos and the Titans game. What is the key to winning this game? And is it going to be close, or is it not going to be close?
We would be remiss if we didn't say it's at least an opportunity to be close, because this is still week 1. Like, to be fair, this is still week 1. Obviously, it's not preseason, but it is week 1. And so the possibility for this to still be a little bit slow out of the gate is still there. So, and because of that, for it to be a 20-17 game, 21-17 game is very much of the realm of possibility. There's no doubt. But on paper and the way that things shake out, it should never be a close game. It really should not be a close game. And I think that for me, I've said it before. I appeared on, I said it on Broncos Europe, which the episode should be appearing here soon. And I also said it on Horsepower Hour last night on David Talks Broncos show. But for me, it starts and ends with the trenches. The offensive line, defensive line of both teams. Like, you know, so if the offensive line can win the battles up front between Ben Powers, Luke Wattenberg, Quinn Miners, if they can win that between Devondre Sweat and Jeffrey Simmons, if they can win that, you know, I think that it's gonna be a very, I don't want to say successful game, you know, for the Denver Broncos. It's going to be a good game, I feel like, for the Denver Broncos running game and specifically for the passing game. And I think that relative to Jeffrey Simmons, I think one of the things that I noticed is that, like, he had one of the lowest, like, games graded as well from Pro Football Focus's side of things going back to week 1 last year. So maybe he doesn't actually start as hot when it comes to week 1. So that might be actually something to follow there. So I just think that, you know, from the trenches side of things, that's where it lends itself to also the pressures and the blitzes, you know, to the Denver Broncos. So can they just make Cam Ward's life a living hell? Can they pressure him so much that he is wishing he was back as a member of the Miami Hurricanes, or frankly, you know, as they say in Little Giants, he knocked him back to the second grade, to where he's actually contemplating life back at Incarnate Ward. Like, I want him actually to like contemplate the fact that he's actually in the National Football League. I want 5 or more sacks. I want designed exotic blitzes where Jedi Baron, gets a sack, and I think that's my bold prediction. I think Jedi Baron gets a sack in this game because of a sack. So as long as they pressure Cam Ward and get to him as much as possible, they will win the football game.
Yeah, I think you summed that up pretty well there. I think there are a lot of different layers to this, but just like every game in the NFL, it all starts in the trenches. Can Denver win their battles up front? And I made a video on Broncos Syndicate today talking about how I do have some concerns about how the interior with Ben Powers and Luke Wattenberg in particular, how are they going to hold up against Jeffrey Simmons? Because Simmons moves all over the place. He'll rush from the right side, the left side. Sometimes he'll even rush at edge rushers. So that's something to keep an eye on with our 2 tackles. But that's the matchup that is definitely one to keep an eye on up front in terms of this Denver Broncos offense. How are they going to be able to neutralize Jeffrey Simmons with some of their play calls? More screens, more swing passes, more outside runs as opposed to inside runs. That way you're dealing with him less and basically not having him be involved with the play. That would be your ideal scenario there to take care of Jeffrey Simmons. He's going to have his wins up front. He's one of the better interior defensive guys in the league. So that's the one where I'm looking at on paper and I'm like, ooh, okay, that could cause us some problems. But on the other side of the ball, Tennessee's offensive line is suspect, to put it nicely. They're well coached. They've got a Hall of Fame offensive line coach in Bill Callahan, but from left to right, their offensive line is Dan Moore, who they just paid in free agency, honestly kind of a mid-tier player. Peter Skoronski, kind of a draft bust. Lloyd Cushenberry, who we know very well, of course, but he's in his first game coming off of a torn Achilles. Kevin Zeitler, who's one of the better guards in football. That's probably their best offensive lineman as of right now. And then J.C. Latham, who really struggled last season at left tackle. That's why they went out and got Dan Moore. He's now at right tackle. So this Titans offensive line has big-time question marks. And Denver, with their defensive line, with their pass rush, they should be able to win up front. And Cam Ward, we shouldn't sleep on Cam Ward. This dude can ball. But he is still a rookie quarterback playing in his first NFL game against a really tough defense that they play a lot of man coverage. They're going to basically declare what they're going to run pre-snap. Cam Ward's going to know what he's going to get. Does he have the weapons that can consistently beat man coverage? His top 3 receivers are Tyler Lockett, Calvin Ridley, and Elick Ayomaner. I honestly don't know if those guys are consistent man coverage beaters. Ridley's probably your best one at this point. You've also got Van Jefferson, Bryce Oliver, and Chimere Dike there. Tight end, you've got Chigo Okonkwo, who's a good player, but not really known as a big-time separator against man coverage. So for me, at least, I think this Broncos defense matches up really well. I think schematically, bring some of those exotic blitzes for sure, but just play man. Just play man, rush 4. I think you're going to get home and just jam the guys at the line of scrimmage, and I don't think Cam Ward's going to have much time to operate. Put a spy on him. That way he doesn't break contain and you don't lose him for a quarterback run. And I think that's pretty much the game plan defensively for the Denver Broncos.
And that stadium is going to be cooking too. I mean, it's going to be a very intimidating place for a first game rookie to be venturing in and having any sort. I mean, I'm envisioning that he's going to get to the line. It's going to be so freaking loud in the stadium that he's going to be kind of looking around, wondering what to do. That's at least what I believe is a distinct possibility that could happen. If we don't wipe the floor with these guys, I would consider it a disappointment. And if we lost to them, oh my gosh, I mean, it would be like devastating to just the entire year. But I like the strategy. I like the strategy that Gage even put out there. Just we play man against that lineup. I think we're going to be in excellent shape.
the question, I think, schematically for the Broncos secondary, is just, how they're going to be able to wind up. Obviously, the Titans wide receiving core, is a shell of what it once was. That's probably the best way to say it. Is a shell of what it once was. Obviously, Calvin Ridley used to be a heralded name. Now he's a really good route runner still. He might actually be probably still their wide receiver one. Treylon Burks was supposed to be their wide receiver one. He's been obviously, injured a fair amount for his career. And cut. So Calvin Ridley, you would venture to guess probably is going to have PS2 on him, but with how just poor their playmaking room is, wide receiving room is, you can't really trust anybody. Tyler Lockett's 1 year away from signing up for AARP. I mean, the room is just, I don't know. It's a less than ideal wide receiver room. So I just think that, the Broncos secondary in general should be able to feast on this. So I'm expecting a 5-sack game, and I am expecting a pick 6 in this game.
I
said on Horsepower Hour last night, it will not be Pat Surtain. I said that I said it will be the White Shadow, Riley Moss, the White Shadow.
Mm-hmm.
Against Calvin Ridley?
I don't know who it'll be against, but I just know that there will be.
You'll have the pick?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, definitely, because you're not going to be throwing the ball at whoever Pat Surtain's guarding.
Yeah.
Well, it's just there's nobody really on the Tennessee team other than Jeffrey Simmons that I'm even worried about. And I'm not saying they're not good players, but the problem is when you only have good players and one superstar, that doesn't really help you much, right? And the NFL did not do Tennessee or Cam Ward any favors by going against Denver first. Cam Ward's very first game in the NFL, and he's going against what's probably going to be top 2 defense in the NFL.
If there's one quarterback just from a mental fortitude perspective as a rookie that I think can handle it, it might be Cam Ward. This dude seems like a dog. You watch his press conferences, nothing phases him. He is calm, cool, collected, and kind of has that I'm going to go F up your day mentality to him. So Cam Ward could come out here and ball. I'm not saying that isn't possible here. So Denver might have a plan, and Cam Ward just might be able to beat their man coverage, and he might just be that dude, man. I think Cam Ward, he's got something to him.
Yeah.
Kenna, I have a Denver question. Same question I asked Richie. How does this Broncos defense match versus the all-time Denver defenses? Who and what year? That's too early to tell.
Yeah, it is.
We need to get a few games under our belt with this line.
Right. I would love to say 2015 because that's the closest I can remember. But at the same time, 2015 Broncos defense was one of the best ever. So until we see Drake Greenlaw stay healthy, until we see Huafunga stay healthy,
I think
Alex Singleton stay healthy, there's a lot of potential injured players that were injured last year that we have to see if they can stay healthy.
But if they are,
oh boy, this could be just a gauntlet that these teams got to go through.
I mean, I don't know if I'm going to say 2015 level because you had first ballot Hall of Famers littered all over that defense, but this defense definitely could be something special, and I think they've got a chance to carve out a really special identity.
I think, if anything, it could rival the Frank. I feel like maybe it's just me, but they should be deserved of a little bit more love than they should, and it's the 2011 defense. That's where I think it would be the defense that it might rival in terms of the creating chances for that other team, much like the 2015. But it's just to your point, the 2015 had possible Hall of Fame caliber players on the first, second, and third level of the defense. And so I just think that, for the Broncos, if it is at all possible for them to be healthy, like they're going to be a defense that I think people remember for a while if it all works out, relative. But even then, I think people need to understand, even if they're not healthy, and that's relative to maybe like to even the negative Bronco fan that's expecting Dre Greenlaw to miss a few games here and there, or expecting, Talanoa Hufanga to miss some games here and there. You take those two pieces who weren't there last year, and yet it was still a top defense. So they're not really going to be missing necessarily a huge, step, if you will. They're going to be really, really good. Really good. So it may not necessarily be 2015 level, but I think the 2011 and maybe a tick above is probably that standard of where we're going to be looking at.
Dom, if you want to get his attention, you got to go all caps, man. All caps. Gage! That's how you get
it. Dom.
But you don't want to scare him. You don't want him looking, something
only
like
2 exclamation points at the most. Otherwise, you scare him.
You can't scare him enough.
Oh, boy. Oh, God, the memes from that. It's getting glorious.
In case anyone was wondering, that is Gage's O-face. Just in case anybody was wondering, just wanted to throw that out there.
Or I'm stoned out of my mind. One of the two.
Yeah, my brain is fried. I know nothing right now. But the one of the issues we've had with the Broncos over the last couple of years is getting a fast start. Mm-hmm. I think that playing against the Titans to start the season is going to allow them to get off to a fast start. I think that the defense matches up with anybody in the league, so I don't think the Titans are going to be able to move the ball at all. So I think that the Broncos win this game against the Titans, and I'm going to go 34-14.
What about you, Glenn?
I'm going to go 38-17. I think the Broncos are going to win the toss, and there's no way we defer that. We are going to get the season started.
I'm going to defer mine until I get my Broncos Syndicate preview video done.
Wow.
Lame.
Wow. I actually have to maybe this is what you were intending on this one, Glenn, but I'm going to piggyback a little bit off of that. But I'm going to say 27-13 because that was my prediction last night on Horsepower Hour. So I will say 27-13. I think they start relatively slow necessarily because I think it's week one. That said, though,
yeah, boo!
I think that they win the toss, but they take the ball. They don't defer. I think they actually win the toss and take the ball.
Okay. All right. Anything else we need to cover? I think we covered it all. And more, Raiders. And O-Face. All right. So we want to thank everybody for joining us on We want to thank everybody for joining us on the show tonight. We appreciate
the eyes get all like
the eyes
at the same time.
Roll the back. We appreciate everybody that joined us in the chat. We love having an active chat. It makes the show so much easier, so much more fun. So we appreciate every single one of you. Make sure you head on over to the MHRT Network YouTube page. Give us a like and subscribe. We'd greatly appreciate it. Also, head over to Broncos Syndicate on YouTube. Gage Madrid is the host over there. Give that a like and subscribe. And then check out Wednesday nights. Mainly Broncos, Cameron Parker hosting there, along with some other friends of his, bringing in some guests and talking some football. So make sure you guys check that out as well. We got the neighborhood starting this Sunday with Bill and Spence because, again, the four of us will all be in Denver going to the Broncos versus Titans game. So that should be fun. Live stream. Yeah. So I was trying to read and talk at the same time. That's a little more difficult.
It's like drafting and fantasy.
Drafting and talking is different. Reading and talking is two different things. But yeah, check out the network. We got shows Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then the neighborhood on Sunday. So please head on over there, give us a like and subscribe. We'll see you guys later. We love the Broncos. We love Broncos country. We will see you guys later, and peace out.
Fast lane when I pass in the street, bag of money in the passenger seat. Simcoe's been asking for me on the road from the west to the east. Way up, I might never come down, cause the coast's racking up the flight miles. So high.